past 4 years, the three of us have toiled away together in the assistant trenches.
I just got a story approved. Are you not wearing a bra?
I expect you to unleash holy hell on anyone who tries to hold you back.
I'm a feminist, and so is this magazine.
It's about clothes and makeup.
That's actually a common misconception.
In the club with my bad bitches.
Any problems with the JJ?
Yeah, it's not 2006. Oh, wait, is that him? Oh my God, it's him.
I got myself drunk enough to express my emotions.
Are you sure you want to do that right now?
Yes. Gosh, worst pep talk ever.
My Twitter bio literally reads, proud Muslim lesbian.
Adina's been detained at the airport. I need to fix this. Everyone, listen up. We are all gonna tweet that a woman is being held against her will.
Describe your panties.
Hold, please. How can you not tell us that you're having sex with Richard Hunter? I can screw whoever I want.
I have Beyonce on the line for you. Beyonce Knowles.
Yes, I figured you meant that, Beyonce.
So much fun. Welcome, guys. Melora Hardin. Come on, one more time. Yes. Awesome. Welcome. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, and congratulations on this show.
I know, it's exciting.
So exciting. I'm excited to talk about it. I love it, which I'm sure it means a lot to Freeform because I know how hard they're trying to lock down that married male 30 to 35 demo, but they've nailed it.
Yes.
Seriously, I did really enjoy the show. I do want to talk about it, but first and foremost, how are you? How are you doing?
So good. I'm so good. I'm here in New York City, one of my favorite cities in the whole world, and promoting a show that I think is awesome.
One person's from New York today.
That's right. Yeah.
Awesome. So that's great. Yeah, they have you running around doing all kinds of press and stuff.
They
right?
do. They do. Yeah.
But that's part of the gig.
Yep, that's part of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
You had your party last night, the release party.
We did. We had a premiere party. It was very nice, very fancy.
Yeah, late night.
And the audience was there. A nice, small, but very intensely passionate audience about the show. So it was very exciting.
You had seen the show, obviously, before that. At the party, did you guys do a premiere and a party, or no? The premiere was a little bit earlier.
Well, no, that was kind of our premiere,
that was
to
like
be
your
honest.
Premiere and party. Yeah,
yes.
the whole thing wrapped together.
Yeah, and I had seen it, but I don't think I really saw it until last night.
Yeah, it's like you really
you're
like
watching everything else the first couple times you see it, you know,
You're
and
in
then
New York.
yeah, and then you can like
vibe.
sit there and you can go like, oh, you know, get to really see the show. Yeah.
Yeah, which is awesome. It is a great show. Tell us, for those that don't know about the show yet or haven't quite seen anything about it, tell us a little bit about the Bold Type and what it centers around and what the story is on this show.
Well, it is. It's a show that's based on, loosely inspired by Joanna Coles, who is the chief content officer at Hearst Magazines, and it follows these three girls that are kind of in the early stages of their careers, and watches the trials and tribulations of their work lives, their love lives. And my character is Jacqueline Carlisle. I'm the editor-in-chief of Scarlet magazine, which is a global fashion magazine and women's magazine. And my character is really wonderful and surprising and different, and much more like Joanna in the sense that she really empowers her young employees. Yeah. So she's not cutting them off at the knees all the time, manipulating and playing power trips. And that was really the reason that I was interested in this show when I read the script, and I really took it seriously.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to do something after Transparent. I really felt like, you know, I really enjoyed being on a show that was doing good in the world besides being great entertainment, and I wanted to be on another show that was meaningful, at least meaningful to me. And when I read it, and then I had a conversation with Sarah Watson, our creator, I really realized it's not only just meaningful to me, it is meaningful to a whole generation of really what I think is what I would call a feminine revolution.
For sure, and we were talking about this a little bit in the green room, but one of the things that I did latch onto and enjoyed so much about the show is the ride it kind of takes you on, because it does set you up, and you do carry sort of these preconceived notions or these expectations, like even the way Jacqueline's introduced and you see like those incredible shoes for the first time and all that, and like you're like, oh, this is gonna be like similar to that Devil Wears Prada kind of thing. I kind of see where we're going here, and I know what to expect. And then within like 5 minutes, it totally takes a left turn. You're like, this is a completely different character, and this is way more than that. that.
Yeah, and that was really important to me, that it not be a one-dimensional character, in the sense that, you know, I don't know one woman in my life who isn't successfully juggling many balls in the air. You know, I mean, they're family women, they're working women, they're you know, they're interested in fashion and beauty and being their best selves and working out and health and wellness, and they have great love lives, and, you know, whether they're single or married, and they're successful. And I would say that is no longer the exception. That is the rule. And that is today's woman. That is the modern day woman. And that's one of the things I love so much about this show, is it feels really modern. Yeah. It feels like a modern expression of what it is to be a woman today. Yeah. And I feel like that Jacqueline is a modern concept, that you can be a boss at the top of your game and still be kind and have integrity. You can be intimidating, you can be challenging, but you still are, you know, you still are coming from a place of, you know, I'm going to push you. I'm going to push you to be your best self, but I'm not going to do that in a mean, manipulating way. There's nothing mean about this show. This is women for women. And that's really the way it is in my real life. Yeah. You know?
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, it feels honest, and it feels more realistic than I think what we're used to seeing in years past with these types of shows. In terms of like subverting those expectations, even with the dynamic between the three girls, is you expect them, oh, I've seen this before. Obviously, they're going to be catty and going for the same job, and they're going to be knocking each other down and try. No, not at all. It's none of that. There's none of that there, but it's still super exciting and fun to watch. Right, and it's like, yeah.
Well, it's still sexy and beautiful, and it's, you know, and it's hot and intelligent and funny and touching, and, you know, talking about meaningful things that really women really care about, and men, you know. And I had one of my best friends come, who was a young woman, that I met at college. We've known each other since we were 18 years old, and she's probably one of my most fervently feminist friends. And I turned around at the end, and she was sitting in the back, and I was in the front row, and I like looked at her and I went, and she was like, and I thought, like, you know, if she, yeah, and I said to her, I said, isn't that us? Because we had another friend that we were like in the dorm room, like bing, bang, boom, you know, that was us, you know? And I was like, you know, that's us. And it's like the Charlie's Angels of 2017, and I'm Charlie, you know what I mean? It's so exciting in that regard. And I think doing good things already, and I sit there and I think, if a young woman, I had a woman come up to me last night and tell me how inspired she was by my character. And I just think of young girls who are like 13, 14, sitting there going, I want to be a boss like that, or I want a boss like that. Yeah. You know, we need to see women of power being people, not just being some cardboard cutout of like, you have to either be sexy and hot or be a boss or be a family mom. Like, you can't be a mom and be sexy and hot and be a boss and be a really kind person who's doing their best in the world. Because guess what? 99.9% of the people in this world are doing the very best they can, right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, one of the things I did really enjoy too is kind of how meta everything gets, because you have at one level the magazine itself, Scarlet, which you talk about, and in the pilot you guys sort of describe how Scarlet as a magazine has been perceived as, oh, it's about sex, tips, and makeup, and it's like, no, there's a lot more going on here. So you have, you kind of find Scarlet can be this voice of empowerment and this voice, this guidance that it's referred to. I love the older sister that I never had towards the end of that speech. And so you have that, right? And then Jacqueline, who's kind of that voice for these girls. And then with the stories you're telling here and the way you're telling, with the characters you're telling, this show can be that thing for its audience as well. There's so many different layers. And did you see that going? I know you said that's part of the reason you got involved. Did you expect it to be sort of this all-encompassing message in the way it's sort of already inspiring people?
Yeah. I think I hoped. You know, I hoped. And it was a pilot. Who knew whether it was going to go? I think on the pilot set, I did feel the intentions. I will say that it really was this conversation that I had with Sarah Watson that sold me on the piece. You know, she's so passionate about this, and her head and her heart are right in the right place, and she has tons of talent. So I think that was a big reason that I did this. And then, of course, meeting Joanna Coles, and Joanna is effectively my boss. She's the executive producer on the show, and she did exactly what Jacqueline does for me, that what Jacqueline does for the girls, which is, and the gentlemen in our show too, let's not exclude them. We have a couple lovely and very handsome men on the show, Matt Ward and Sam Page. Yeah, where Joanna basically sort of said to me, oh my God, I loved you so much on Transparent. I love having a woman who's younger than me, skinnier than me, and funnier than me, playing a character inspired by me. So what that does is that makes you think, okay, so she's happy with this match, and that makes me want to perform to my very best, and that's what Jacqueline does. It's not about, making people feel worried and coming from fear, because we all know that coming from fear is something that is far too commonly used as a tactic in today's world.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I know you don't.
I can't possibly fathom what you mean.
I can't imagine either what I'm talking about, but I'm talking about something. Anyway, and this is what's so cool about this is nobody is behaving or being propelled from fear and shame. They're not. They're being propelled from heart and head combined, and support and mentorship and collaboration.
For sure. And I do feel like I should point out, for those that haven't seen it yet, we're sitting here, we're having this great conversation because the show inspires this conversation. But when you're watching it, this is another theme that goes throughout. You don't even necessarily at first glance realize you're having all these thoughts or feeling all these things. You're just engrossed in this fun story in this show. And they describe the magazine, maybe I'm getting it wrong, what was it, stealth feminism? Is that how they describe it at one point? How sure, there's these articles about makeup and all these different things, but there's a lot of stuff going on in here, a lot of undercurrent, a lot of subtext, and I really enjoyed all that. I want to ask you, we talked about how Jacqueline sort of plays this mentor, this leader role for these girls in a way. You kind of find that by the end of the episode and you fall in love with that. You, with, I don't know, like 114 some odd credits on your IMDb, and I mean, you have experienced many facets of this industry. Do you find with the cast that you guys have a similar relationship off camera as well as on? Like,
that's a very good
question.
To you? Yes, that's a very good question. And you know what? Absolutely, life imitates art, and art imitates life. In fact, in this case, even more so, because they said to me early on, we need, your husband, they have a good marriage, and that was very important to me, that they had a good marriage, and that they're working it through. They have children, and she's powerful. Joanna has a really good marriage, a strong marriage. She's a very powerful woman, and has great kids, and I like to think I have great kids, and I have an amazing husband anyway. So they wanted my husband on the show to be an Englishman who is a war photographer. They've been married for 20 years, and I went, I'm married to an Englishman. He's an actor, not a war photographer, and we've been married 20 years. Yeah. So actually, my husband does play my husband on the show.
No way.
My husband, Gilder Jackson. And we, strangely enough, on our show, because of a location, we work on Sundays. Okay. And so this last, or whatever it was, June 4th, was our personal 20th wedding anniversary, and we actually ended up filming the character's 20th wedding anniversary on our real anniversary.
So you guys are very, like, from that Daniel Day-Lewis method school, but like at a level of commitment
that's right.
that started 20 years ago.
That's right. We went home and had sex that night, and that was what the characters were doing too.
Awesome.
So yeah, no.
Awesome.
But yes, as far as the girls go, I do think that they are young and they're just sort of getting going, and I'm about to turn 50 in I think a few days, actually.
Wait, on the show, or you?
No, in real life. So yes, I am, which is really important, and I think important to talk about. These are transitions in life are really important, and I think to own them and to celebrate them and to be an example of. That I celebrate that, because guess what the other option is? I don't like it. And there's only one other option. So the point is just that I really do think that they can look to me and they can say, there's someone who's built a body of work, who has worked on her craft and built a career that she's proud of and that people respect, and I want that. And so they're looking at me as an actress and the way I behave on the set and the way I treat the crew and the way I collaborate and the way I show up for everybody.
Setting the tone.
I'm setting the tone, and I do that in a very conscious way. I don't think of that as a flippant part of my job, and I also take on this idea that I'm trying to help develop women, that these girls, into women that are going to be like me one day for girls that age. Sure. And that's what we're all supposed to do. Every generation is supposed to get better, and the only way we do that is we all give each other a hand.
Well, let me ask you something. You know, with shows like the Bold Type, Netflix, the Girl Boss, and Wonder Woman breaking, I don't know, all the records.
Oh my gosh.
Do you feel?
It's about time, don't you think? It's about time.
Well, the question is, like, from the outside here, for me, it's like, okay, this is great. We are moving culturally in the right direction. This is fantastic, and it looks like the industry is finally listening to the people have been saying for years. From your side, from your perspective, do you see the industry, do you see the business moving in that right direction more? Are you seeing more opportunities that maybe weren't there earlier on, and more roles and more stories being told that, like, finally, here it is? Is that happening more on the other side too?
I think it is happening, and I guess I've never been of the mindset, I've never been one of those bitter, angry people. I just haven't. It's not who I am, and I really do believe that if you want something to change, you got to start change. You got to start it within yourself. If you see something out there you don't like, you have to look at yourself. You have to look at the reflection in the mirror and go, how am I contributing to what's going on there? And I don't mean look at that negatively, because people have a tendency to look in the mirror and go, how am I contributing? Oh my God, I'm so this, I'm so that. That's not what I mean. I mean, how am I contributing? What am I not doing? And what can I do? More importantly, what can I do? So I feel like that's happening in the culture in general. That's happening around so many elements of our Western culture right now, around politics, around social economics, around spirituality. And I think that the more we can aggravate a kind of passionate response that is positive leaning, the better we are, the better we are. And I know that for me personally, I was never engaged really that much. I mean, I always voted, but I wasn't really that engaged until now. I'm engaged. I am so engaged.
Right.
And that is the best thing that's come of this for me. And it's the best thing that has happened for so many women. And women are the ones who I think kind of had their feet kicked up a bit, complaining, but with their feet kicked up. And I don't think women have their feet kicked up so much. I think women are like, you know what? Damn it, we're going to go make Wonder Woman a hit.
Right.
Who was it that made Wonder Woman a hit? Yeah. It was women. And women are going to step up for each other more and more and more. And I think it's such an exciting time for what I call this feminine revolution, which is that women don't need to be men anymore. They can be women. They can enjoy their feminine guiles. They can enjoy their clothes, their shoes, their sexuality, their sensuality. But we need to be equal.
For sure.
We need to be equal, and that needs to be happening. And those things need to be addressed.
Yes, correct. Yeah. I'm going to hold for the applause there.
Yeah.
As I was discussing the show and the character with my wife last night, we were going back and forth and trying to find a cohesive way to sort of encapsulate all the things that we really loved about specifically your character.
I love that you were having a conversation with your wife about this.
Well,
You're
thank you.
so awesome. I love you.
See, that's what I'm getting high fives. That's bonus points.
High fives everywhere.
There we are. Thank you for that. That was a great moment. But what I wanted to bring up, Greg, guys, if we could throw that picture up, there was, from your marketing campaign, you posted this. I thought this one thing sort of encapsulated the entire sort of vibe for me. I'm not a boss bitch, I'm a boss. Bitch. Yeah, exactly. Like that really, that's perfect. That's exactly it. Yeah. It's like you are all these things. You are all these. To use another term, the same term I just used earlier, many facets to this diamond, right? There's so many different things, and I think so often culture wants to just sort of diminish it to just a one-dimensional kind of thing. Oh, she's bossy, or she's this, or she's that, and it's like no, there's a lot going on here. We're all human beings, for crying out loud. And if you would just like take a second and listen and kind of take it in and enjoy it and appreciate it. We can have these conversations. Yeah. I want to ask you a couple of fun things before we get to audience Q&A, but before we do that, thank you for this show. Yeah. I really did enjoy it, and I do want to encourage everybody to check it out. It's a 2-hour series premiere, guys, Tuesday, July 11th, 9, 8 Central on Freeform. I'm telling you, no matter who you are,
my mom's birthday, that's
TV.
A good omen. Yeah, July 11th. Yeah, July 11th.
You filmed on your anniversary.
Yeah, my
mom's birthday.
I'm telling you, it's a good omen. I think we got 7 years in us, don't you?
When do you find time to celebrate with your family? Are they tired of you bringing this to all of the cakes and coffee sessions?
That's another thing that is really really important to bring up, and I think good to be talking about,
Yeah,
which is
well, I
that
did wanna ask you
to be
about
a
that.
woman like me, which I am. You know, we're filming this show in Montreal, Canada, which doubles for New York, and I live in Los Angeles, California.
Yeah.
I need a very understanding and very collaborative family. I need really understanding kids who communicate and can talk about how sad they are. I had big tears about going away. I wasn't going to see them for 3 weeks, and then I was worried that there was going to be a big chunk of time that I wasn't going to see them at all, like for 5 or 6 weeks, which doesn't work for me at all. And I really have found a way through help from my husband, through help from the production, through communicating with my kids. I've actually found a way to get back a lot and for them to come up. And now they're out of school, so that my husband and my kids are up and they're spending the rest of the time with me all the way
awesome.
through till July 14th when we're done.
That's really awesome. Because I
Yeah.
was going to ask you, you were featured recently, I think it's housebeautiful.com.
Yeah, that's right.
Looked
yeah.
amazing, by the way.
And in the
beautiful.
magazine,
In the magazine, that's right, in the
It's a
magazine
beautiful
as well.
magazine.
Well, but I was going to bring it up not only because it was it looks beautiful there, very nice, but also with your husband filming with you and all that. You mentioned how important like family dinners can be.
Yes.
How do you hold on to that tradition when both of you are on set? You're doing this. Do you have a bigger dinner when you get back to make up for the lost dinners?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I came back just a few weeks ago. I was there in Austin doing the ATX, television expo thing, and I flew home for 4 days. And when I landed, one of my best friends picked me up because my husband was busy, drove me to home, and literally we came through the gate, and I pulled up, and on the driveway, my kids had written in chalk, "We love you, Mom." And I look through the window, and they both have got on pretty dresses. My husband's in a suit. They've made me dinner. The girls have made me dinner with my husband setting the table. He's lighting the candles. I mean, truly. So everybody has to work hard to keep that connection. It's not just me. And yes, I do it too, but I'm telling you, like, my just eyes welled up with tears. I just
Well, of course.
I was just like, you guys, I didn't even care what they cooked.
live in a
And it was
fairy
really
tale.
good. But
That's
I mean,
amazing.
I was like, you know what? You guys could just make me, dog food, and I'll be thrilled with this.
After that welcome, you can open a can of Pringles.
You
It's
can
still a
open-
great
you can
night.
open-
Like there's
yeah, that's right.
there's no downhill from there.
There's no downhill.
That is awesome.
So yeah, it's work on all sides. It is, and you really do need to communicate. You do need to be. But that is the modern woman. Again, this is the modern woman. I am not the exception. I'm not. I think my husband is exceptional. I think my kids are exceptional. But I think that we need more of this. We need more talking about this. How we make it work. It's a great question, and we just do our best. And I was once told by a therapist, it's not the quantity of time, it's the quality of time. So put down your frickin' devices. It's just like put down the screen time. Turn off the television. Turn off the screens.
Oh, after you watch the bold type.
And really,
Then turn it off.
well, watch the bold type, and then turn everything
Doing my
off, and turn on some music. Yeah, you're right. And then like let it inspire you, and enjoy each other. Look into each other's eyes.
100%.
Ask your kids questions. Talk to your husband without all these distractions. We've got to raise children who can interact. Because it's going to be a problem. When I told my kids, my girls, I have 2 girls, 12 and 15, I'm like, listen, if a guy wants to take you out on a date, if he cannot show up here, shake my hand, look in my eyes, and sit down for 15 to 20 minutes without any distractions and talk to Daddy and I, he's not taking you out.
Yeah, it's not happening.
And that's how I feel. And I'm like, so you better prep him.
For
You
sure.
better prep him. If you like the guy and you want him to take you out, you better prep him that
down,
that's
give him the
what's
talk.
expected.
100%. I think, and it's something you hear a lot, but I don't think you should hear any less, which is we do have to make that concentrated effort to take the time to kind of step away for a minute. Because everyone now is coming up in a world where they only ever have known that to exist.
And it starts with the parents. That's the other thing.
You have
Like,
to set-
how easily do we get sucked in? I mean, I didn't give my younger daughter does not have a phone, and I didn't give my older daughter a phone until she graduated 8th grade. And when she turned 15, she was like all in tears. I'm the last person to get a phone in my class, and I really want a phone, and I'm mature enough. And I said, I understand that you're mature enough. You are mature enough. But I said, but I even have trouble getting sucked into my phone. I'm going to give you a few more months, and I promise you'll get a phone when you graduate 8th grade. And so 2 months later, there was sort of an upheaval in the class where someone took a picture of the teacher from behind and posted it on one of their Instagram accounts. And there was this big deal. And she came home, she said, you know what, Mom? I'm kind of proud that I don't have a phone. And I was like thinking to myself, now you're ready for a phone. But But I still didn't give her a phone. I still waited until what I had told her, which was the end of the year. And she's very, because we waited, I think waiting, that's one thing. Wait. Yeah. I would like highly recommend to everyone, wait as long as you possibly can, because once it happens, it's gone. Like you've lost that. You've lost that power. And then, you wait and you wait and you wait until you can't wait anymore. And then they really, she's really proven to me quite an extraordinary maturity with
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome to have a 15-year-old daughter that you're you say to her, put that down, we're at dinner.
Yeah.
And she does.
That's really cool. I would be remiss, we're going to turn it over to the audience. I know I keep saying that, but I would be remiss if I did not bring up some kind of question. You, of course, were in one of the greatest television shows of all time. You were on The Office. I'll hold for applause for The Office, by the way. Because
I'll applaud.
of course. Yes, of course. Yes, of course. But I did want to ask, I know it's two completely different characters in two completely different universes and different worlds with what I imagine to be completely different trajectories. But were there any tools, even the slightest little nuances or anything that you brought with you from Jan, a woman in power and a powerful position when we first are introduced to her, to Jacqueline, a different boss entirely?
Yeah, I mean, totally different. No. Except yes, because no, they're completely different. But yes, in that every character is part of me, and I bring me, and I that's my greatest asset in my toolbox is me and my experiences and my my soul, my heart, so. Really, I think that they couldn't be more opposite. Yeah. And so I'm not in any way thinking, and I hook into Jacqueline in a completely different way than I hook into Jan. Right. And the dynamic of Jacqueline is completely and utterly different than the dynamic of Jan. So just with the other characters, 100%. So yeah, so I would say no, but of course yes. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to turn it over to the audience. I believe we have some microphones out in the room. First question is going to come from right over here.
Hi, Melora.
Hi.
I was wondering if you could talk more about working with the young actresses in the bold type.
Yes. Well, we have some fabulous actresses. This is Megan Fahey here with the beautiful long hair. This is Katie Stevens, and this is Aisha D. And they're wonderful. They're all beautiful. What I love about the show and I love about them is that they're beautiful, talented, strong, ambitious young women, actresses, who are strong and talented and beautiful, ambitious journalists and fashion editors and social media directors. Right. So again, life imitating art, art imitating life, and it's really wonderful to watch. They really are. They're really excited, and they're doing a beautiful job, and they're wonderful to watch, and their interaction, the play between them is really, I think, really special and different. And they're modern women. You do get that. They're almost a character in our show is them, the social media, them tweeting and, that popping up so you can see what they're tweeting. And you get this, that's the way we all communicate now. And you get this feeling of like this extra storyline that's going on through the texting and through the social media. And I think they're modern women. They're actually modern girls actresses, and they're playing modern women. So, and they really have a beautiful chemistry. They have a beautiful chemistry. They're fun, and they're funny, and they're wonderful.
The social media stuff, they are wonderful for the record.
And beautiful,
I totally echo that.
obviously.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
But I did want to say that the social media stuff, you couldn't tell this story in this time without doing that.
No.
And I think it's done very well. It's not distracting. It is another storyline entirely, and it does kind of add to it. So it's pretty cool.
Kind of a character in the show.
Yeah, it is. It's a whole other character. Next question right here.
Hi. So I saw that you had directed your own film a while back. What was that like for you, and do you plan to continue directing at some point?
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I directed a movie that my husband wrote and I directed called You, And it was a wonderful experience. I've been acting professionally since I was 6 years old, so I'll say that the actual time spent on set was very natural to me, working with as many directors as I have and DPs that I have and crews and cast, that was really very exciting. And I fell in love with the process and was very intimidated by going into the editing room, but ultimately ended up falling in love with that part of the process as well, and have since then directed a short film, a music video, a live one-woman show. And I'm in the process right now of directing and also starring in a documentary that is still telling its own self, so I can't really give you too much about that, but look for it, I think probably in 2018. It's a beautiful, very, very healing and I think life-affirming and inspiring story. So I'm very excited about it. I'm only in it because just by I have to be because the story is includes me, but I am directing it. So, and I'm also I've been talking to the show about directing next season if we get a second season.
Ask if
so
you're gonna do an episode.
yeah, and they're very excited about that. And
the music video you did wasn't it the 20th anniversary
of Paula Cole's Where All the Cowboys Run? Yeah.
It said you were good friends with her. You guys just known each other forever.
She's one of my best friends. We actually met when we were both pregnant with my first daughter, her daughter, and we met at our yoga class, our prenatal yoga class, and at our midwife's office. We both had home births, so we both kind of bonded over that, and it's a very unique and wonderful way to have a child. It's an incredible way to have a child. And yeah, we became best friends.
Very cool.
So that was like 15 years ago.
We have time for one more question that's going to come from over here.
Hi, I'm a big fan of Joanna's online, or her reality series, So Cosmo, so I'm excited to see this. I wanted to know, do you know how much experience was actually taken from her life to be put into this show?
Well, I mean, Joanna's an exec producer on it, and I would say it's inspired by, Joanna reads all the scripts. She definitely consults and looks at everything and makes sure everything is, and I think also some of the stories that she's told have certainly been inspirations for the writers and for the show creator. So I would say a lot, but again, I'm not quite sure like how many specifics, but definitely a lot has been inspired, by her and her experiences.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, we're out of time. I can just hang out and talk to you all day.
We can
Honestly,
do this all day.
having
You
a lot
guys
of
are
fun.
great, yeah.
But I do have to let you go. Thank you guys for the awesome questions.
Yes,
thank you
all.
for hanging out with us. I want to remind everyone, look, honestly, whatever you think you know about the show, I'm telling you, watch it. I was blown away by how much we really enjoyed it and really had a great time. And you can do that. You can check it out Tuesday, July 11th, 2-hour series premiere on Freeform, 9/8 Central. The Bold Type. Guys, one more time, Melora Hardin, please. Round of applause. Come on.